Yo, bitches. Fucking hell. How to get comfortable with this thing? Used to be higher, don't it? Used to be eye level, sort of up here. So my mum won't lend me any money because I did drugs. She's like a computer program, do you know what I mean? Every time I touch drugs, she's like, I'm not lending you any money. She was like that when I was living in Peterborough on my own, yeah. She'd just moved out of Peterborough down to Gamlingay, and I was on my own for the first time, and I had no support. When I ran out of money, I had nowhere to go, you know, and I'd run out of money. And because I'd smoked like a 10 quid's worth of marijuana, yeah, she says, I'm not lending you any money. And, nah, I'm not painting that out right because she has. That's not, no. No, I don't think that's true. It's true about back when when we split, but I don't think the other part is true. Just waiting, really. Well, I'm not waiting, I'm making a YouTube video. Let's see if I can cross my legs. Yeah, that's quite comfortable. It's quite good. I feel like I'm still growing, even though I set myself back by about 2 weeks. And then again by about a week. I can still feel myself growing. I haven't watched Victor Otto's latest YouTube video. It says Lift Off, and I figure that's, you know, I figure it is Lift Off because I can fuck myself up, and I'm still growing as a person, you know. The good things, something good has happened in my life, which is that I was on 2 pills a day of benzodiazepine because anxiety, yeah. I was so anxious, my mind was completely fucked. I couldn't think straight. I was out of line all the time. You know, I went to my doctor and I was like, oh my God, I'm losing it. And it's not psychosis, it's something else, I'm fucking losing it. And I was completely losing my mind. And it was because of the shitty way I was being treated by my 2 neighbours. You know, so she said, have you got anything you can take? I said, yeah, I've got clonazepam, so I took half, and then she said, take the other half, and then she said, take another one later on. Well, I'm down off of 2 to 1 a day, and that was for 2 weeks, and now I've got another prescription. I don't even know if I should have gotten it, though. I feel like I need them a lot less, you know. I'm gonna still take them until I finish taking them, you know. I think my doctor's pretty on point, really, with the medication that she gives me. I feel grateful because I used to be schizoaffective, but now I'm just schizophrenic. I'm not manic anymore. And I don't have depression anymore either. I had very, very major depression. I don't have that anymore. I can feel myself being like less and less depressed every day, even though I've done something to myself that has made me depressed. You know, even though I've kind of screwed myself up a little bit, I can still feel myself becoming less and less depressed every day. So I know that when I'm totally right, I can't say that because it's too old-fashioned a saying. I'm going to be feeling really dope. Really dope. Because I felt pretty dope before all this shit, and now I have the awareness, the knowledge that my depression has even been improving while I've, you know, knocked myself back and been depressed again. During that period of time, that 3 weeks or 4 weeks, my depression has still, underneath all that, still been, you know, my happiness level has still been rising. So, I don't feel any negativity towards the way that I've lived my life over the last 4 weeks. You know. Because I have this gift of what I've just explained. I mean, holding space for that, I can't feel negative about anything really, you know, right now, right now, you know. Things piss me off, you know, I mean, I let out my bad emotions, you know, I get pissed off about things. I let them out because I've explained this before. Say I'm like 10%. It's not even 10%, you know, being pissed off at things. That allows 90% of feeling really, really fucking good and really happy and really dope to come through, you know. If I didn't let my emotions out, I'd just be depressed all the time because I feel that's what happens when this is what I used to do. I used to just bottle everything up, not feel anything, no pleasure, no pain, no sorrow, no happiness, no nothing, you know. I was depressed as fuck. And I know that feeling my emotions, I mean, this is the thing Teal Swan has been banging on about for God knows how long. Hold on, let me just move this up just about there. This is what Teal Swan's been banging on about in her book, The Completion Process, and her YouTube videos, you know, to like feel. That's how she came up with the completion process. She was in a hole, bottom of which probably covered by nettles, with wooden, just shitty old wood covering the top of the hole. She was totally in a hole, you know. Her captor called it the mind space, or her rapist, or whatever you want to call him. It was ritual rape. It was rape and rape and rape that went on for years. And putting it down this hole. I mean, what a piece of shit, you know, and fucking hell, man. I mean, like, I've had shit off my neighbours so bad, yeah, that, like, they put me on medication because I completely lost my mind with the shitty way they were treating me, all the threats, you know. But to be raped and held down put down a hole and have the hole covered up, you know, with nettles in the bottom in summer when there's nettles, you know. I can't even imagine how much fuck a person's head up. But the point I was getting to was that she allowed herself, she tried to keep her mood up all the time, probably for quite a long time. And she made like this breakthrough where it must have been pretty boring, do you know what I mean, down a fucking hole. So she went somewhere in her mind because she couldn't go anywhere physically. And she allowed herself to feel the darkest, most depressing. She allowed herself to lose hope. To lose hope that she was ever going to get out of this situation. She went right into those feelings. And she actually noticed that benefited her quite a lot. You know, and so that's why I say it's like a teal swan thing, because like that's what the completion process is about. It's about going into emotions. It's like when you get triggered, you start to feel like, I mean, there is a way when you're triggered to just squash the trigger. I can hold space for that. This person likes me, you know, even though they're triggering me, they like me, you know, and I can squash the trigger. But she teaches that triggers are there to teach us something, and part of the completion process is to, when a person gets triggered, to fully feel all the feelings that come along, due to that trigger. You know how, like, your mind shuts down when you get triggered, doesn't it? And you go into like a paranoid state that and because your mind is shut down, you can't pull yourself out of it because you don't have the mental strength at that time. You know, somehow a trigger just completely clouds your mind. You're practically unconscious, you know, you can't even, you just can't function, you know. With me, that I remember one trigger where I felt like I was not pushy enough, you know. Didn't stand up for myself, and it's funny because at the time that was true. I wasn't standing up for myself enough. That was back when I was like bottling up all my emotions, and not just doing that, but preventing every time I felt emotion coming, I had this way of just like making it disappear. And I used to do that for every single thing I felt. And that's the absolute opposite of the completion process. Because the completion process... Anyway, so when you get triggered, like... so I got triggered one time, and I had this feeling that I was too soft, you know, and the completion process says that I ignored, I fucked that off as much as I could, you know, I fucking, and that made the trigger just worse and worse and worse. You know, I just fucked it off. No, this is bullshit, you know, you fucking idiots. And it really made me mad, you know, hearing all this shit. because it went on for hours with all different people fucking just calling me soft. Went on for about 2 hours. Really tore my mind apart. And what I should have done was allow myself... What I was feeling was, like I say, that I'm too soft, and I should have actually held on to that feeling and tried to believe that feeling, you know, and really go into it and really just feel everything that I was feeling, like all the negative emotions. It may have started with like I'm too soft, but feelings, they always move. They move around so quickly between like happiness, sadness, guilt, shame, you know, all the emotions, they move around so quickly, you know. So it may have started on I'm so soft, but if I'd have gone into it, it would have moved to like probably about 10 different, maybe 20 different feelings, you know, negative feelings, and I should have felt them all, you know, because feeling feelings, although they're negative, I feel that that's what brought me out of depression, you know, feeling my feelings. People say, don't they? They say that when they get depressed, they get numb. They just shut down, you know. But it's kind of a little bit the other way around. If you shut down, you get depressed. I'll try and change position here. Oh, the sun's moved around a bit. The light's not very good. My face is too bright. So how long? So that's my latest. I think I've moved down too far. I want to be about there. That's my latest thing that, like, along with, you know, even more relief from depression. Not relief from depression, but extra happiness, you know, on top of the happiness I was feeling already. That's along with... In the same period of time that was happening, I was also feeling my emotions as well. Going into them, feeling them, you know, and yes, it's possible to go too far doing that and just fucking start throwing things around, you know what I mean? But that's only because so much is bottled up, you know. With any luck, you know, it's okay to feel the negative emotions to a point, up to a point where you feel like throwing things around, and then just calm down, you know. Sort of just throughout the day have several times where like you really go into your negative emotions, but don't take it too far because you'll end up throwing your TV out your window, you know what I mean? Or I would end up throwing my TV out my window. I'd end up literally picking up this table down here. I'll show you my table. I'd literally end up picking up this table down here and throwing it against the wall. You know, literally I would, because I've got that much inside that I've bottled up for so many years, because I started completely shutting my mind down, deliberately. I did it because I felt it was... I want to be real here. I want to be real and authentic here, but I don't feel YouTube is ready for what I've got to say. My reasons why I did that. That was probably like 1997, so that's 20 years ago. So for 20 years, like, let's Yeah, for 20 years. Pretty much been holding in my emotions. I mean, even up till like pretty recently, you know. And Teal Swan, she says that the emotion, well, one video I watched of hers, yeah. She said that your emotions, those are your boundaries, you know. And I don't feel the kind of bullshit you think when you're pissed off, you know, is what you act on. It's not those feelings are your boundaries in that way. It's just that when I started to open up to feeling all the bullshit, all the bad shit, all the bad shit feelings that like I'd been bottling up for years, I just found myself being a stronger person and being able to like stand up to people, you know? You know what I mean? So I do feel that it doesn't matter how she meant it, I feel that it's right, you know? Yeah. Oh, I feel so tired. I feel so tired and upset because, like, I've been bottling up my emotions for so many fucking years. You know, I've not had a life for like 20 years because of bottling up my emotions, you know. And I'm feeling something now. I just feel... I literally feel like I'm mourning the loss of half my life. You know, and I don't know what trauma caused me to completely break down that way and have the deepest, most major depression for like 20 years. I don't know what, because like, it's supposed to be like, it's abuse that causes psychological problems, you know, and I mean like, with the shit I've been getting off my neighbours, I mean, they've stopped now, but I completely and utterly lost my mind. I was out of line all the time. I was out of line for like 2 days. First day wasn't too bad, second day was really bad. I was really out of line and I knew it, and I was saying to people, I'm losing my fucking mind, you know. I was scared as fuck because I felt like I'd acquired like an extra mental illness on top of the psychosis that I already have, you know, the schizophrenia. I was really fucking scared. And yes, I can believe that abuse caused me to refuse to feel any feeling at all. I can believe that. I can believe it. You know, I couldn't feel like, you know how like when the rain's on the window, you know, and it just sounds so fucking serene, you know, sublime, not serene, sublime, you know, I couldn't feel that. When it snowed, I felt nothing, you know, literally zero. It snowed, I felt zero. Something major was happening with the weather, I felt zero. You know, anything really. Anything that would cause you to feel a good feeling, couldn't feel shit. Couldn't feel shit, you know. Very, very, very depressed. I just can't think of anything. in my past that would have caused that. I mean, Teal Swan, she says that it happens between the ages of 0 and 8, birth and 8 years old. And like, I'm gonna believe that right now and try and find something, but I guess it's because my parents and my siblings never talked to me. We never had a conversation. All through the whole time from when I was born to 8 years old, I never had a conversation with any of my siblings or my parents, you know. And I guess being deprived of conversation for the most vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable period of my life caused later on in my life that depression for like 20 years, you know. And it wasn't just till the age of 8. It was literally, I didn't have a conversation with anyone until I started going to Coffee Club, which is like 2 years ago now. That's when I had my first conversations of my life, you know. I mean, all the time I've been visiting my mum like every 3 weeks, and like, she wouldn't talk to me. We'd just sit there in front of the idiot box, you know, the television, watching that, you know, and she fucking wouldn't say a word to me, you know. And if I'd have like interrupted the TV, because I was such a doormat, you know, if I'd have interrupted the TV, it was really codependent relationship, you know. I would have got a lot of shit over that. I mean, when I was living with my mum, I turned the TV off. I just picked up the remote, turned the TV off and says, we're going to talk for half an hour. And she went absolutely fucking ballistic. Literally. You know? And I knew in that moment that I could never do that again. I could never turn the TV off like that again and ask for a conversation. Because she freaking well flipped out. You know what I mean? And the worst part about her reaction was her dehumanization of me. She treated me like I was a piece of shit. A total piece of shit. You know. And that's how I knew she wouldn't put up with that again. Because she saw me as being completely and utterly worthless. You know. So yeah, I've gone, literally gone the whole of my life up to the age of 40 without talking to anyone, ever, you know. It's fucked up. Fucked up. Totally fucked up. So, yes, it led to depression. It led to a very, very major depression. From about the age of like 18 or 19 till when I was still depressed 2.5 years ago, but it's taken 2.5 years to very gradually lift myself out of that. And then during the summer of this year, I just lifted right out of it, you know. I was no longer depressed. All of a sudden, it's just like that. I was no longer depressed. After 2.5 years of working on myself, working on my personality, working on my core beliefs, you know, positive affirmation, self-love, gratitude, practicing gratitude, eating vegan, you know, gradually for 2 years, you know, very slowly at the beginning, then speeding up towards the end. And then just like that, I was out of depression, you know. And like I say, the dope thing about it is that in the last week, maybe two, I've noticed that although I was out of depression, I was lifting even higher in my mood, you know, even higher, you know. So when, like, I've recovered from the abuse that I've done myself, I just think it's awesome, you know. I am in awe at how good I'ma feel, you know. And this process, it ain't gonna stop until I'm like deliriously happy all the time. Apart from when, like, you know, you get your negative emotions. I get my negative emotions and I feel those. I go right into them and I feel them as much as I can until, like I say, I feel like throwing the table at the wall, you know. I feel them. And I feel like I said before, as I keep feeling them, I don't know how long it's going to take to just release the pressure that I have inside me for holding everything in for like 20 years, but I don't know how long it's going to take, probably not very long. I'll be able to just be in my emotions 24/7 because they'll never take me to a place of extreme anger. Because what have I got to be angry about? I feel that that's when I get angry, is when I've got something to be angry about, you know. But if I'm feeling all my emotions, you know, what am I ever going to have to feel angry about? You know what I mean? And I have noticed, and Teal Swan pointed this out, but I didn't get it at the time because I just wasn't in a place where I could like fully understand it. That people who think they're not angry because they're bottling all their emotions up are just as angry as everybody else. They just are unaware of their emotions because they're refusing to feel them, you know. You know what I mean? And for some reason I'm thinking, no, I'm gonna not say that. You know. I mean, why would I not feel confident? What am I ashamed of? What am I ashamed of? You know, that when I'm like in town, I feel ashamed. I do. The way that it's just the way that I'm walking. I mean, I'm not saying anything. It's just the way that I'm walking, and I feel like the reason I'm not confident is because I have something to feel ashamed about. Or maybe like I'm ashamed because I don't feel as confident as I should do. And that makes me feel ashamed. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe the reason I'm not confident is because I feel ashamed. Some kind of abuse that I've had, you know. I mean, it's probably because I went to prison and I was attacked by the guards quite a lot, you know, and that kind of experience. Like I say with the two brothers who were mentally torturing me, you know, threatening me all the time. and I lost my mind and I had to take medication. I mean, imagine the damage that was done to me when I was in prison and the guards would be, restraining the fuck out of me, My arm nearly got broken 3 times, seriously. Every time they restrained me, I felt like I was fighting for my life, literally. Because if you just let them do it, they're going to break something, you know what I mean? They're going to go too far and they're going to break something. So there's only one option, and that is to struggle, and I literally felt like I was fighting for my life, And I thought that the completion process was about me just needed to remember those attacks, but it's not. I can't. The space that I'm at right now, I can't go nowhere near remembering those attacks because I've only just realised the massive amount of psychological damage that has done to me. And that's probably why, like, when I walk through town, I feel ashamed because I'm not confident. But it's really that I'm not confident because I'm ashamed. Victor's wife, Patty, she said she had an abusive parent. I can't remember which one it was, the male or the female one. But, when I said, how'd you go, on one of his Q&As, I said, how do you go about healing from abuse? And she was like, just don't worry about it, really. Don't worry about it. It does catastrophic, the word huge is not a big enough word to describe the psychological damage that going to prison and being treated that way did to me. Because it has taken me... I entered an even deeper phase of my depression and I tried to commit suicide 4 times. Once with tissue paper down my throat, once with way more than a fatal dose of nicotine, one with rat poison, and one with pills. That being to prison, it made me want to end my life. And it's only this year that I've not been having suicidal feelings. I mean, when Richard was giving me shit and Patrick, I had suicidal feelings like one time. One time it was all too much, and I felt like I was losing control. With what suicide started to look like to me within the last few years was just the extreme fear of losing control and not being able to stop myself from grabbing a knife and fatally stabbing myself, That's what it looked like to me. And the fear that, it could happen, I should really have called someone, but if I'd have called my mother, she would have offered no help whatsoever. And I didn't have anyone else in my life. I had Danny and Andy, but I didn't ask for their help. I should have gone round there. Every time I felt suicidal, I should have been straight round there. So look, this is how I feel. I feel like I'm going to lose control, grab a knife and just end it. It's like, I don't want to die. I really, really, really don't want to die. But I feel like something in me is going to take over and end my life for me, But yeah, this year's not really been feeling suicidal. So, yeah, did me a huge amount of damage. Huge amount of damage being in prison and being treated like that. Being physically attacked. You know. Anyways, I'll end this video here. So, if you cared, if you learned anything, you know, but I'm glad that I could, like, provide that, you know what I mean? I'm glad I could provide that. Anyways, goodbye.